I had my heart broken by sports this weekend. I'm upset. I'm devastated. I'm angry. I have a wide range of emotions. And I just, if I can't talk about that at the beginning of my own podcast, then what's the point of having a sports podcast, right? So, as you all may know, I'm a big Boston Bruins fan. That's my family's connection to sports. I grew up, my brother was playing hockey, so my whole family loves hockey. That's our team, the Boston Bruins. And I'm going to start with a little bit of context for you so that if you're not a Boston Bruins fan or a hockey fan or you're not paying attention in any way, you can understand where I'm coming from and why this hurts so much. So the Bruins in the 2022 season, right, were supposed to be amazing, and they were. They won the President's Trophy, which means that they had the most points in the regular season. They set a record, 62 wins. Their record was 62-12-5. That's crazy. They won a ton of games. They were an incredible team. Everybody thought they'd win the cup. What happened instead is in the first round of the playoffs against the Florida Panthers, a team that at the time, had 5 fans. I'm hurt. Let me get my hurt out, okay? The Bruins had a 3-1 series lead, so they had won 3 games. They just needed to win one more game, and instead of doing that, they lost in Game 7 to the Florida Panthers, eliminated in the first round by the Florida Panthers. In the offseason, we lost our captain, Patrice Bergeron, so Brad Marchand was named captain. That was our new captain now. Brad Marchand had been with the team for, at that point, 15 years. Fantastic story, Brad Marchand. He was drafted by the Bruins. He's always been with the Bruins. He was originally, a pest. He's a smaller guy, so everybody knows a smaller hockey player, you got to sort of play differently to make up for what you lack in size, and he did that. He was an incredible shit talker. It just sort of came to embody the identity of the team. Like, his skills we got to watch him grow into the player that he was. He's a fantastic player. So that's our new captain. Great. We go into the 2023 season. Again, not as good as the prior season, but we again make it into the playoffs. The Boston Bruins do. Round 1, don't worry, we beat Toronto. Took 7 games, which it probably shouldn't have, but we win. We're into the second round. Who do we meet in the second round? The Florida Panthers. You guessed it. So there we are against the Florida Panthers, the team that absolutely ruined what was supposed to be our great season the year before. Here are the Florida Panthers again, and we lose to them in 6 games, and they go on to win the Stanley Cup. So I hate the Florida Panthers. And when I say hate, I this is the whole point of this podcast. Like, that to me is healthy hate. That is like, I'm supposed to hate you. You ruined my night. I put on my jersey and I sat here and I watched the game and I got excited for my team, and you suck. You suck, and you took that from me, and I hate you. This weekend, or the end of last week, I don't know, guys, it all blurs together, but it was the NHL trade deadline. And there were rumors that we had maybe heard that the Bruins were going to sell, go into a full rebuild. And there were rumors that Brad Marchand was going to get traded. And I was like, no, he's been here for 16 years. Like, that's our captain. You're not going to trade away our captain. And then on trade deadline day, we started to hear that, no, maybe they won't be trading Brad Marchand. So I'm like, everything's coming up Nolan. Everything's looking great. And then in the final hour, we find out that not only is Brad Marchand being traded, but he's being traded to the Florida Panthers. I am beside myself. I can't. And not only that, then we find out what the trade was for. Because you think you're going to trade away your captain to a team I hate more than anything. You better be getting something back. And what they got back is a conditional pick. It's a second-round pick, but it conditionally could become a first if Brad Marchand plays 50% of the Panthers' playoff games. Which means, in order for the return to be what I believe it should be for a player like Brad Marchand, who I love, I now have to theoretically root for the Panthers to do well in the playoffs with my guy. You! This sucks so bad. I'm so pissed off. And it's the thing about sports media is that like, that's not a take you're going to hear on TV. Like the take you're supposed to give is like, well, why does this make sense for the team? And like, what is the rebuild about? And technically the value of this guy and this, I don't give a shit about any of that. I loved Brad Marchand because of eventually the things that made him Brad Marchand, right? So I don't know if he still is, but at one point he was the most suspended player in the league. He's annoying. He's a guy that we have multiple times described as like, if he played for any other team, I'd hate him too. And now he does. And that's crazy. He's a guy that, listen, when he first started here, I remember him specifically, we were calling him Marchand. And I remember him specifically being like, actually, it's Marchand. And then like 2 years later being like, guys, actually, it's Marchand. And like, that sums him up to me. He's with us. He's very good at being a pest, at annoying you, at pissing you off, at riling you up. And now to know that like his last act as a Bruin, and it's not his fault, but like now and then you find out that like he wanted to stay. He wanted to be a Bruin forever. I could barely get through it. I'm not going to say I watched the whole thing because seeing him in a hat and a jersey that said Florida Panthers on it with a Florida Panthers step and repeat behind him made me want to jump off of the roof of my building. But I watched his press conference and he got choked up talking about the Bruins and basically being like, I wanted to be there forever, but here we are. And I just like, I get it. Fans are always so quick to swoop in and let me know that it's a business and that I'm stupid and that I'd be a bad GM because I'm too emotional. And that's why I'm not the GM. I'm a fan. And a fan is supposed to be able to like a player and not want that player to leave. And maybe that player wants to, like the thing with Mookie Betts, which happened with the Red Sox, a lot of people will say like, well, Mookie really wanted to leave. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't actually make me feel any better, but I guess it can make me feel better for him or whatever. If the player wants to stay and I love the player and that player has grown to fit so well in the organization and like embody what it is that Boston likes to think of itself as. It's like this scrappy, like pick yourself up and become the player you want to be, fight against the odds and the way that your body was built to become this player that's like a real difference maker and that other teams hate and that you love that they hate him. And now I just have to watch that guy go play for the team that I never want to watch play another game, the team that I hate, whose fans and here's my, I'll button this so we can get onto a podcast, but like, it's been crazy to me watching Florida Panthers fans be like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I had a hard time. Matthew Tkachuk is on the Florida Panthers. I hate him because he's annoying to me. And I've had to watch him chew on his mouth guard, the way he has it hang out of his mouth for the whole game to beat us in the playoffs 2 seasons in a row. So I hate that man. And that man was obviously on Team USA for 4 Nations. And I had a hard time rooting for Tkachuk when he represented my country. Okay? You guys are now fired up. You have Marchand. That's crazy. That's nuts. You would never catch me being thrilled to have somebody from that team on my team. Y'all are sick in the head. And I hope he helps you win. I don't know. I don't have a pretty button for it. Sometimes being a sports fan blows. And this is one of those times. So sorry that I don't have hard-hitting, smart analysis. My heart is broken. I feel like I feel like I got into a relationship I didn't think I wanted, but learned to completely fall in love, head over heels, and then they left me for the girl they told me not to worry about. Just like I feel abandoned. It sucks. It sucks so bad. And now I have to like hope that they get married so that I can have a good pick.
You're going to have to block all of them.
Which also, actually, I'm not going to root for. I'm not going to root for the Panthers to do well. Why? Because the Bruins kind of suck at drafting anyway. So I'm not really, it's not like I think if they get that first round pick, it's going to make so much of it. I don't care. I don't care. It's crazy because I don't even like hockey. It's crazy because I've never even watched hockey in my life. I think it's dumb. What are even sports?